Hello dear students, this is Gagan Gautam and I am here presenting a segment called Making Economy Easy in 5 minutes. In this segment we are going to pick up a news and we're going to explain that news in 5 minutes. So we're going to break it down fundamentally, and at the same time I'm going to tell you the implication of that news for India. In this particular case we are discussing a news called US Federal Reserve cuts back on their rate by 50 basis point, which means that the US Federal Reserve have reduced their interest rate by around 0.5%. So the interest rate used to be around 5.33%. Now it's somewhere around 4.83%. So around 0.5% they have cut back. The US Federal Reserve, just like we have in our country, our Reserve Bank of India, that's our central bank. Just like that, in the United States, they have Federal Reserve. That's their central bank. But US economy is gigantic. So once something happens, a rate cut happens there, their central bank takes a decision, it's impact every country in the world, and including India. So let's first understand that what is the implication of reducing the interest rate in general. So sometimes RBI here in India, they reduce the interest rate. What is its implication for an economy in general? If the central bank cuts back on the interest rate, it generally is a boost for economic activities. How? Because it makes borrowing cheaper for investors. Once the borrowing is cheaper, then the investors borrow more, they invest more, the more economic activities takes place, more production, more people get employed, and so on and so forth. So it's a good news for that economy in general. So in the United States, there is election coming up, and obviously the current administration wants to show that the economic activities are booming, and hence the whole rate cut scenario. Anyway, let's understand that how is this important for India? It's important for India because from the United States, we attract a lot of investment. And when there's a rate cut there, this investment is going to increase. Think and listen carefully. Once there's a rate cut in the United States, it's going to increase the inflow of dollar into India. How? Look, this is a interest rate there in the United States. This is an interest rate here in India. So if a general investor wants to do, who is in the US, they're going to borrow from the US where the interest rates are cheaper, and they're going to invest in India where they can get more interest. Now, not only interest, they're going to, if the borrowing is cheaper, they're going to invest more and more long term, aka FDI. So more investment is going to come in our stocks, in our overall industry, especially in our FDI. It's a good news. It's a good news because it also strengthens our rupee as well. If you think very, very carefully, 2 years ago or 1.5 years ago, when the Federal Reserve increased their interest rate, what happened at that time? There was a capital flight. Immediately, the dollar, which was here, the moment there was higher interest rate in the US, dollar flew there. It impacted us. It weakened our currency. Now, when there is a rate cut there and the dollar is going to inflow in India, it's going to strengthen our currency vis-a-vis dollar. So it's a good news for us. So now you might ask, sir, what exactly is the connection between the inflow of dollar, outflow of dollar, and the weakening of the currency? Now it's a concept in itself, the exchange rate concept, but let me just help you to understand. Think like a child, then you will understand a concept better. How the inflow and outflow of dollar affects the strength of rupee vis-a-vis dollar. When there is an increase in the rate in the United States, then what happens? Capital flight happens, dollar goes out. Now very little dollar is left into India. When there is a rate cut happens, dollar comes back, or in abundance, dollar comes to India. So there's a huge dollar in Indian market. When something is in abundance, it loses its value. When something is less, then its value goes up. The same concepts apply. So just like that, right now what I have informed you is there is a rate cut there. Now there's a rate cut in an abundance. The dollar is about to fly in India, and it's going to strengthen our rupee as well. So there you go. That was your segment, Understanding Economy in 5 minutes. Have a nice day.